Hey all, Mr. Rip here. Want to do a quick review of Sylph because the winds are changing in their region, and at the center of that storm is Sylph, the elemental of air. No, I'm just messing around. So I'm really just still experimenting with her, but based on her kit, I think she's definitely going to be an S plus tier once she's fully developed. If you like Nefertari with that big area control, you're going to feel right at home using her, except I think she's going to be much better than Nefertari is. And actually, I wonder how they'd work together, both having that, AOE control. So that might be something to think about. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at her ultimate. Wrath of the Wind. So basically what she does is she summons a 6-second expanding storm that pulls all the enemies towards the center, just like Nefertari does. Deals 320% AoE damage per second. And then of note, she's also immune to knockups, so that's pretty cool. She'll never be disrupted when she's casting. And this is cool because it's a mass disruption tool, so it gathers everybody together, clumps them all up, so you can do some AoE follow-ups there. And then when we're talking about Swift Strike, so every 2 to 3 basic attacks, she'll teleport behind the highest damage or the weakest enemy. She'll do a 520% attack AoE damage, which is pretty sick. Then she prevents energy gain for 7 seconds. At higher levels, anywhere from 240 to 320% attack extra damage. And then that cooldown is 0.3 seconds and then goes down to 0.1 second higher level. And then she also destroys 300 points of energy, which is pretty sick. That's perfect for crippling like the carries and then also delaying ultimates. So that's something I want to think about. When you're talking about skill 2, 4 winds, that dispels the enemy zones or fields and replaces them with Sylph's wind field. So think about when you're fighting people like Nefertari or Arzal or any comp that kind of is reliant on those zone effects or relics that are based on those kind of effects. You can kind of counter those, so that's pretty cool. And then Raging Tempest, skill number 3. So this will buff the allies upwards of 30 AGI and then also 30% movement speed, which is pretty sick. It'll debuff the enemy and reduce their attack and their ACC. So this is definitely a tempo swing hero because our allies, they're going to hit faster, and then the enemies are going to hit slower, and they're also going to miss more often. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at her SG, or we used to call them signature gear. Now it's signature skill. Zephyr. So this negates lethal damage once, and then it'll grant a 3-second full invulnerability. So basically, if she gets killed, essentially she'll survive it and then have invulnerability. So then she can make sure that she can get all of her high value skills cast at least once. And so let's take a look at talent 1. So talent 1 reduces enemy AGI upwards of 50 points and actually can go to negative 50, which is pretty crazy. So basically globally slowing their attack cadence and ability for them to charge their ultimate, and that's pretty cool. And so some of those, if you think about some of those heroes that have like devastating ultimates, this might be a good counter. And then a Hasfer, be a Devaic. Fire, the 4 or 6 armed hero might be a good combo to put with them. So you're basically kind of chain denying their ultimate. But let's see, and then Mythia as well. And then the talent 2 expands 4 winds and causes to deal an extra 180% divine damage. And then the elemental skill, Gust of Wind, essentially gives the furthest ally a shield and an attack speed buff, if we wanted to kind of summarize that. And then let's take a look at Breakthrough 1, Swift Strike. This is a sneak attack, directly destroys 300 points of energy. And then B2, Raging Tempest. So in the 4 winds domain, counter effects are applied directly with a recovery block. So, okay, and then, so there's kind of a quick look at her skills and ultimates and everything. If we're talking about role impacts in battle, so as far as zone control, she's going to remove those enemy fields while also boosting ally attack speed. And then, she provides a tempo advantage because You'll get an AGI boost for all the allies, and then you'll get an AGI attack and ACC reduction for the enemies, and that's definitely something that can shift, the fight into your favor. For backline disruption, Swift Strike really punishes those high damage targets and then delays their ultimates. And then survivability, right? She's got that 3-second invulnerability when she takes, lethal damage. So pretty cool overall. I'm still testing her, but all the signs are pointing to her being an S+ tier. 320% AoE storm ultimate, 520% backline, assassinations with, or 520% damage. Basically able to go back there and assassinate some, high value targets with Swift Strike. And then she's got zone removal, she's got speed control, she's got accuracy suppression, right? So she's slowing them down, making them miss, speeding you up. So, if you liked Nefertari's kind of AoE zone control, Sylph is that. She's just faster, meaner, and harder to control. So, I would definitely recommend getting her. I'm definitely going to max her out as soon as this event is over here in, a few weeks. But, that's what I think about her. If you guys have any inputs or you want to share what you've seen or teams you played with her on, I can share some of those teams, to follow. But right now I'm still experimenting. But other than that, I hope you have fun out there playing the game, and good luck.